Okay, video number 3. Let me get back to where we left off. Okay, so this is where we left off. This is everything you need to make the micro run, but it doesn't have any lights or anything else connected to it. And, you know, if we go to do the board layout, it'll complain all these disconnected pins here. So eventually we'll change that too. Let's start off by throwing a couple of LEDs off of GPIO 0 and GPIO 1 up here. Let's do a couple of LEDs. So we needed a resistor and an LED. So I need an LED. So let's go back. Why is it expanding all of these out? I just want a generic device. I know there's a whole section on LEDs, but I just want a generic one that looks like that. Okay, footprint again. Let's assign that early. And again, the LEDs I've got in stock, these things are really cheap. It's hard to imagine they make them so cheap. I think I paid $9 for $9.14 for 3,000 of them out of China. Okay, here's the package, the footprint. So that's fine. And I'm going to run them with regards to ground so that when the output is high, it's the way I want it. So I need to rotate it that way. And I'm going to have to move the labels and all that other stuff too. So let me just, in fact, let me do it this way. Let me put them a little higher. And they'll need a resistor in series with them to limit our current. And I'm going to use a 1K. It's bright enough with a 1K, and I've already got one on here. Let me just kind of duplicate the 1K. Oops. And let me just set that in line here. So I can just wire that up to GPIO 0. So let me just zoom in here. And then that in goes to ground. So let me just go like this. And then after the resistor there, and from this I need a ground. Let me Command D, duplicate the ground. I'm going to throw a second one in here, so I don't want to wire that up yet. I'll see how it maps out. So I need another one of these, and I just want it low enough to not get in the way of the other pins. That's probably good enough. And we need another LED. But I can't put them in the right spot. Okay. And so this will work. Okay, so now I need to wire this one. So I can come in here. And then I need these two connected to ground. Okay, those are my LEDs. Oh, the labels are in a really bad spot. Let's fix those while we're at it. Notice that it draws a line to which part we're talking to. So let's just put it here, and then that D3 needs to reference this guy. And let me move this one around too. Okay. I'll be using red LEDs, but it doesn't really matter at this point. Okay, so next up, I want to add, I've got these low-cost OLED displays. They're 64 by 128 pixels. They're I2C interface. And in pins 4 and 5 there are the, can be used as a I2C interface. So well, let's just do that. Now on I2C, we also need pull-up resistors. And we need pins 4.7Ks off of pins 4 and 5. So let me bring this down and back up a bit. And so this will be my I squared C coming out of here, but I need a couple of resistors. So let me duplicate one of these, and I'm going to rotate it because I want vertical work better for this. And I'm going to edit the value. And these are going to be 4.7K. And to make things look a little nicer, I'm going to move this label and I'm going to rotate it once so it can be upright. And I'm going to remove the designator here and I'm going to bring it down here too. So there's one of them. I need another one. Now if I duplicate that, it'll be fine. And these connect to pins 4 and 5, which is our I squared C. And they're going to be labeled something slightly different here. But the resistors go to plus 3.3. So I need a 3.3. So yeah, let's put it there. Okay. Now these two I squared C lines, one starts here and comes out, and we're just going to run it to one resistor, and we'll take this one, we'll run it to the other. And I'm just going to put some tags on there. And one of these is the SDA line for I squared C. So this is SDA. And that one ends up going to, check my notes, pin 4. So there's pin 4. So this one will go right here. And the other one's going to be SCL. So let me just, I could just duplicate the label and then hit the E key and edit this. So this is going to be SCL. Okay, so now we need to tack these in. And they need to connect to something. I mean, right now I got the resistors on there, but I want to put it on the display. So I need, they're a 4-pin connector, and they're the same generic connector, just like this one, except 4 pins. So I need to go get one. Connector generic, but I want a 4-pin one this time. And I got some space over here, so we're just going to drop it over here. And on the 4-pin connector, pin 1 goes to ground, and let's see, pin 1 goes to ground. I like my connectors or grounds to be down. So I'm just going to, for my own personal preference, I'm going to take this one, I'm going to rotate it twice. And let me move it over just a little bit further. So this is the I squared C connector for the display. And I need SCL and SDA over there. And pin 1 goes to ground, pin 2 goes to plus 3.3. And I want a cap on there. So let me just go ahead and duplicate. SDA goes to pin 4. So let me just drop that in there. We're going to probably edit a couple of things yet. SCL, duplicate that one. That will go into there. Let me zoom in just a little bit. Okay. And then I want the plus 3.3. Let me zoom down. Oh, there's one. Let me copy a 3.3, duplicate. And I want it on pin 2, but I'm going to come over and come up, and I'm going to have a cap on there too. So I might as well just go ahead and put it down here. And I need a 0.1 cap on here of some sort, just to make sure noise doesn't bother us. So I'm just going to duplicate that guy. That's already the 100 nanofarad. And I want to put that just so that pin is slightly below the pin 2 as I draw it. And then pin 1 is ground and this guy is ground. So I need a ground. So let me just grab one. Okay, now to add wires. So SDA, SCL. This is the +3. And this is the ground. Now, these caps that go between +3.3 and ground, there's a bunch of them. Those are bypass caps. So when you do the layout and you're trying to move things around to make traces look short, it's really tempting to set those all next to each other. That kind of defeats the purpose of having them. So you really want to keep those separated out. Let's see. What else do we need? Okay, so I've got pretty much, I got the display on there. I did talk about this being motor drivers for stepper motors. So I suppose we need stepper motor drivers of some sort. So I'm going to be using the ULN 2003. Again, it's a part I've got, and that's just a transistor array. The stepper motors themselves are, they're really cheap. They're like $2.50 a piece. They're 32 steps per revolution with a 64-to-1 gear ratio. They're plastic gears. They have a lot of slop in the gears, so accuracy is not as good, but the price is right. So we're going to be using those, but they already have a 5-pin connector on them. So I need a 5-pin connector and a couple of ULN 2003s to make this whole thing work, and we'll probably throw a couple of bypass caps on those too. So, okay, so I need ULN 2003. So let me add another part. And this is a ULN 2003A. And the footprint on these is SOIC 3.9 by 9.9. Looks like that. Okay. So here's one of them. And I want actually 2 of these because I want to drive at least 2 motors, actually 3. And these are only 7 channels, and I need 4 per motor. So if I put 2 of these on here, that gives me 14 channels. Each motor needs 4, so that gives me 12, and I got 2 more, and I do need 2 more for another purpose. So let's start with that. Let's start with this part. Let me duplicate this. So I got 2 of them. And these actually run, they've got some protections for motor blowback and giving the spikes at 5 volts. So this common, you see it's got a diode here that if this voltage coming back ends up going above pin 9, it will protect us. It sends the current the other way. And that's the 5 volt line. So what we want to do is we want to come back here and I want to grab the 5 volt line because we need it for this. And I want to put it just here. And I will need another one down below. Okay. Now I got these lines here are the ones from the pins. Now, when I actually do the board layout, I might move some of the pin assignments around to make my layout easier. But for the moment, I just want to connect these straight across. So what I'm going to do is, I'm debating on how I want to do this exactly. Let me put the generic connectors in here for the stepper motors. Let me get rid of that. So I want generic connector again. These are going to be the same. Connector generic, and these are 5-pin ones. And I'm going to place these over just far enough where I can get some text by them, but they don't really need much. And I'm going to put it right about, that's there. Now these particular ones, need 5 volts. Check my notes. We're going to run 5 volts to pin 1. And then the other 4 just go to those transistor pull downs. So I need 5 volts to there. I've already got 5 volts here. So let me, I'm going to make it look nicer by just putting the 5 volt like this. Okay. And I need to duplicate this a little bit too. Try to make them the same. Okay, so I've got connectors. So now I could take these lines and run them to that. So let me just zoom in here, and there's my 5 volts. And I can actually just take this and do that. I don't know, maybe that doesn't look as good. Let me just duplicate this here. I got to make it look good. So let me delete these here. Move this up. Okay, that'll work better. And then I want to duplicate this. And I want it to be there, which means this guy's got to move down and click too. Okay. And I can, let me edit the symbol here. The value, I want to change that to something that means more to me. This is going to be stepper motor 1. Okay, let me edit this one. This one's going to be SM2. And this one is going to be SM3. Okay, that all looks good. So now I just need to run wires to all of these, and we should be good. Let me fill in this one. And which pin ends up on which other one, it doesn't really going to bother us a whole lot, just because we've got so many options here. And we're going to use all the pins on all of these eventually. And I've got 2 pins left over. On those, I want something really kind of interesting. I'm actually running a couple of laser pointers on this project I'm building. Maybe I'll discuss that in another video. But I want a couple of laser pointer drivers. So those would run at 5 volts, but I'm going to use these to turn them on and off. So what I need is a 2-pin connector that is basically +5 and the other side goes to here. So that's pretty straightforward. So connector generic 2-pin, footprint, pin socket 2.54 vertical. Nice and simple. Okay. And I'm going to stay with the pin 1 to 5 here. And I'm going to, let me wire this in. And let me edit this. And this is going to be laser pointer 1. And I've got one more I want to put in there too. So let me duplicate that. I guess I got that pretty close. Okay. Okay. Save our work. Should do that every once in a while. Okay, we're at 21 minutes. Is that everything? Oh, I need to connect these. So there's 14 wires to connect. And again, I don't know exactly where I need to connect things, so let me just do this. Let me, it's just going to be a bunch of labels. And this is going to be SM stepper motor 1. Let's just do SM1A, B, C, and D. So we're just going to do that. Duplicate it because that'll be faster. They're all still the same labels yet. And then I want this one, hit the E key, edit, and I want this to be B. This one we want to edit C, edit D. Okay. And if let me try this. It might not work. I'm going to just take that whole thing, select it, and duplicate it. Can I mirror it? Oh. Well, we'll just do it manually. Okay, let me move that one. Okay, so there's the first one. I guess we should do these two. And I need labels on these other ones. Let me just duplicate that again. This is SM2A. B. C. Okay. There's D. Okay. Let me zoom out just a little bit here. Let me copy those. So we want to duplicate. I didn't get them all. Okay, that's fine. Duplicate. Okay. So now let me take this batch and duplicate. And this will be SM3. Oops, wrong one. Okay. SM3A, this has got to be 3B. Three A, B, C, and D. Okay, that looks good. Let me duplicate those. Let me zoom in to where we can see them. So this one moves. I want that to kind of line up there. Again, while you're moving it, just the R key gets us to rotate things. Draw some lines. And then the last two are going to be this is going to be laser pointer 1. This one's going to be LP2. Let's try that again. Duplicate. Okay. A couple of escape keys, so I'm not moving a group of things. I want the single thing. Rotate. Okay, those are now connected. And we want these connected. I suppose I should put some grounds in here. Let's grab a ground symbol. The problem is the labels are not very nice spots. Let me move the labels around a little bit. We do want things to look nice. Okay. We've got a bunch of extra pins yet, and I think we will, if you don't do something with them, you can't do anything with them, because you can't really like tack onto the IC after it's been soldered onto the board. Those pins are tiny. So I want to bring some of these extra pins out so I can just reach them. And I don't know how many I want to bring out. But we'll bring out a few. Let me bring out, let's put in another 5-pin connector and just bring out some of the A to D converter lines. I think that might, or the, we can do a different connector, because I really don't think I'm going to need them, but it's nice to have them if we got them. So let me just bring, I got 4 A to D converter lines and maybe 4 of the digital lines in a power and a ground. Okay, so that would be 10 wires. So I need a 10-pin connector. So let me just do that. Generic connector, generic, 10-pin. But instead of the pin socket of 2.54, I'm going to do the 1.27 millimeters. So they're really tiny and they don't take up a lot of board space, because I probably won't use them anyway. But I do have those connectors. So let me just do that. And I'm just going to put it here so I can reach it. And I'm going to take, I want a 3.3 volt. So let me just put that in there. Let me edit this and get this label. The value, I can just say don't show the value of it, because I don't really need a value. It's just a connector, so that goes away. So let me move this over a little bit, because I think I'm going to need that space. Let me move this guy too. So I want to bring those 4 and those 4 and a ground. Easy enough. Okay, so if we'll just do the wires. I want a ground. And let me just move this so it's symmetrical here. Let me run that trace there to there, that to that, and then we can just I think that'd look better if I move that whole thing up just a little bit. Let me get those back out of there. Let me do this. Let me move it up 1 click. That way the lines will be straight. Okay. Okay, that leaves me 4 pins that are not connected. I'm going to say they're not connected, so I'm just going to click the little X. Okay, hit the escape key. Let's zoom all the way back out. That looks like it should be enough. I mean, I've got 4 extra pins if I want to add more LEDs or whatever it is, but, I think I'm going to leave it there. Save it. And this video is already run too long, so we'll stop here.